One night. One confession. One moment she tried to erase, and the moment I knew I could never forget her, even if it meant losing her for good. The story begins on a warm, late evening, quiet, still, holding that strange softness that only happens after a long week. The narrator arrives at her place without a plan, just the familiar comfort of being around her. She, a 40-year-old woman with long black hair, elegant posture, and a confidence that's been carved through life, opens the door with that small, tired smile she gives only to him. Inside, the house feels different tonight. Not tense, not cold, just full of something unspoken. The lamps cast gentle light over the living room, illuminating the delicate lines around her eyes, lines he has always found beautiful. She moves with that effortless grace she can't hide, even when she's trying to distract herself with trivial tasks. He notices everything, the way her fingers tremble slightly when she hands him a glass. The way her voice softens, as if she's holding back a truth. The way she avoids eye contact for just a second too long. Tonight, she isn't the composed, unshakable woman he's used to. Tonight, she looks like someone trying to outrun her own feelings. As they sit together, the conversation starts light: work, errands, music she's rediscovered, but her laughter is softer, her pauses heavier. And when she leans back into the couch, the dim amber glow highlights the vulnerable curve of her smile, the loneliness tucked behind it. He inches slightly closer, not enough to cross any line, but enough to feel her presence. She notices, but she doesn't move away. Instead, she exhales slowly, as if surrendering to a moment she's been trying to avoid. Then it happens. She lets her head rest briefly on his shoulder. Not romantically. Not boldly. Just tired. Human. Honest. And everything inside him shifts. Her hair brushes his cheek, warm and fragrant. Her fingers curl loosely against her own knee. For a second, she lets him feel the weight of her trust, a trust she rarely shows. And it's that tenderness, that fleeting closeness, that becomes the moment he'll never escape. They don't speak. The room is quiet except for their breathing. The world feels smaller, safer, realer. But when she lifts her head again, her eyes are different. Guarded. Frightened by the intimacy she allowed. That's when he realizes, to her, this night is something she needs to forget. To him, it's the night he knows he's already losing her. The next part of the night unfolds slowly, like a truth trying to escape but getting caught on the way out. After she lifts her head from his shoulder, the room seems to breathe differently. The warmth of her closeness lingers on his skin, and he feels it, this shift in energy, this sudden distance that wasn't there before. She straightens her posture, pulling herself back into the version of herself she trusts most, composed, controlled, unreachable. She picks up her glass again but doesn't drink. Her fingers move around the rim, slow and unfocused. The light catches her long black hair, falling over her shoulder in soft waves, but there's something fragile in the way she keeps tucking the same strand behind her ear. Almost like she needs something to do with her hands, because the silence between them feels too revealing. He watches her. Not with desire. With understanding. Because he knows she's fighting something herself, maybe, or the way being close to him makes her feel. She shifts into a safer topic: errands, bills, the neighbor who keeps blocking her driveway. But her voice has a faint tremble, a slight breathlessness that wasn't there before. And her eyes, those deep, emotional eyes, keep flicking toward him and then quickly away, as if lingering might betray her. He asks if she's okay. She smiles. A small, practiced smile. A smile meant to calm the air instead of invite honesty. "I'm fine," she says. And it's the softest lie he's ever heard from her. The night goes on, but with every passing minute she grows quieter. Not cold. Not irritated. Just distant in a way that feels protective. Like she's pulling her emotions back into a locked place she doesn't let anyone see. The closeness of earlier, her leaning into him, sits between them now like a memory neither knows how to handle. He tries to lighten the air with a joke. She laughs, but it's hollow. He talks about a movie. She nods, distracted. And he can feel it. She isn't trying to push him away. She's trying to push away what the moment meant. Her hands keep fidgeting. Her breaths keep deepening. Her eyes hold a softness he knows she wishes wasn't there. And when their fingers brush accidentally while reaching for the same remote, they freeze. Her breath catches. His heart stumbles. She pulls her hand back quickly, but not fast enough to hide the truth he sees flash across her face. She felt it too. But she isn't ready to feel anything. Not with him. Not tonight. Not when feeling something might mean losing control of a life she's fought hard to steady. And he realizes something heartbreaking. This night, this small, fragile moment they shared, is something she's already trying to pretend never happened. Because pretending is easier than wanting someone she believes she can't let herself have, the air shifts again, slowly, almost imperceptibly, as the night deepens and the world outside her windows grows quiet. They're sitting closer now, not by intention but gravity, two people being pulled toward a truth neither is prepared to acknowledge. Her shoulder brushes his when she exhales. His knee touches hers when he turns slightly. Every accidental closeness becomes deliberate in silence. She folds her arms, then unfolds them. Her fingers drift to her necklace, an old habit he's seen only when she's nervous. He wants to say something comforting, something grounded, something that will ease whatever storm she's fighting inside, but the words stay trapped in his throat. When she looks at him again, something cracks in her gaze. A softness. A longing. A fear. She whispers his name, not the casual version she usually uses. The gentle one. The vulnerable one. The one she only uses when she forgets to protect herself. He turns toward her, and for a brief, suspended moment, they're close enough to feel each other's breath. Her eyes drop to his mouth for a single heartbeat, 1 second too long for it to be anything but real. Then she looks away instantly, guilt flickering in her expression. I shouldn't, she murmurs. But she doesn't finish the sentence. Because finishing it would make it real. He shifts slightly, giving her space, but she doesn't move away. Instead, she closes her eyes for a moment, steadying her breath. When she opens them again, something in her has surrendered quietly, unwillingly, beautifully. She leans toward him. Not a kiss. Not a confession. Just her forehead brushing softly against his cheek, like she's allowing herself one moment of truth before running from it forever. He doesn't move. Doesn't chase it. Doesn't ruin it. He lets her choose the closeness. He lets her decide its meaning. He lets her breathe against him with the weight of someone who hasn't felt safe in a long time. Her hand rests lightly on his arm. Warm. Gentle. Shaking only a little. He whispers her name this time. Soft. Slow. Afraid to lose the moment. She opens her eyes, and he sees everything she's been hiding: fear, longing, loneliness, and an emotion deeper than either of them will say aloud. Then, just as quickly, she pulls away. Her breath comes unsteady. Her eyes glisten. Her hands retreat to her lap. That can't happen, she whispers. But the way her voice breaks, the way her fingers curl, the way she refuses to look at him. He knows it already did. And he knows she felt it too. This was the line. The one she swore she'd never cross. The one he never expected her to. And crossing it, even for a moment, was enough to change everything. They fall asleep in different places, he on the couch, her in her room. But the night hangs between them like a fragile promise neither wants to speak of. Morning arrives too quickly. And with it, distance. Real distance. Not the soft, hesitant kind from last night. The cold, practiced kind, the kind she uses to protect herself from things that feel too real. The house is brighter now, sunlight sweeping across the kitchen floors, reflecting off polished countertops. She stands by the table with a cup of coffee, wearing a simple light sweater, hair tied neatly, face arranged in calm neutrality. She looks perfect. Untouched by the night. Untouched by the moment they shared. He greets her gently. She replies politely. Too politely. Every word she speaks feels intentional, measured, placed at a distance like furniture arranged to keep someone from getting too close. He sits opposite her, and the chair feels miles away. She avoids eye contact, not obviously, but enough for him to feel the quiet rejection in every turned glance. When their eyes meet by accident, she breaks the moment immediately by sipping her coffee or adjusting her sleeve. He tries to bring up the night before. Her fingers tighten around the mug. "It was late," she says softly, dismissively. "We were tired." It didn't mean anything. The words hit him deeper than she intends. Not because they're cold, but because they sound like she's trying to convince herself more than him. He watches the way her jaw tightens, the way her throat moves when she swallows, the way she sets her cup down with careful precision, exactly the kind of precision she uses when she's hiding emotion behind control. He asks if she's upset. "No," she answers quickly. Too quickly. Then she turns away, as if that single word took all her strength. She changes the subject to practical things: appointments, chores, errands, clinging to routine like a lifeline. Every sentence feels like a brick she's stacking between them. She stands up to wash her mug, and the sunlight catches the faint redness around her eyes. She didn't sleep well. He knows it. She knows he knows it. But she won't admit it. Finally, she takes a slow breath and turns to him. "What happened last night can't happen again," she says quietly. "It was a moment. A mistake. Let's not attach meaning to it." But the tremble in her voice betrays everything the words try to hide. She pauses, softening for just a split second. "You're important to me. That's why this has to stay safe." Safe. The word feels like a door closing between them. She picks up her keys. He watches her move around the kitchen with a calmness that looks practiced. And in the bright morning light, he realizes the night meant everything to him. And she's doing everything she can to pretend it meant nothing at all. The days after that morning feel wrong. Not dramatic. Not explosive. Just quietly painful. The kind of pain that sits behind the ribs and grows in silence. He sends her a message. She replies hours later. He sends another. She replies with fewer words. By the third message, she doesn't reply at all. But she reads them. He can tell. The little signs are there, the brief indicator, the quiet pattern of behavior she doesn't notice she has. She's not ignoring him. She's avoiding herself. He sits in his room at night, watching the glow of his phone screen, waiting for a message that doesn't come. The room is warm, bright, too familiar, but the silence feels colder than anything he's felt from her before. This isn't rejection. He knows what rejection looks like. This is fear. This is emotional retreat. This is self-defense. She's not protecting herself from him, she's protecting herself from what she felt that night. But knowing that doesn't make it hurt any less. He replays the moment in his head, the warmth of her leaning on him, the subtle tremble in her breath, the way her hand clung lightly to his arm, the way her forehead lingered against his cheek. You don't lean on someone like that unless something inside you breaks open. And something inside her did. He knows it. He felt it. But now she's building walls so high he can't even see her anymore. He tries calling. She lets it ring out. He tries leaving a voice note. She listens, but sends nothing back. He sits on his bed with the lamp glowing beside him, hair messy from running his fingers through it too many times, heart aching in a quiet, confused way. He's not angry. He's not blaming her. He just misses her, the way she used to smile, the way she used to share little pieces of her life with him, the way she trusted him with the parts of herself she didn't show anyone else. Now she gives him nothing at all. And the painful realization settles slowly. Maybe the moment that brought him closer is the same moment that pushed her away. She doesn't want to remember the night. He can't forget it. And that difference, that impossible imbalance, becomes the silence that keeps growing between them. A week passes before he sees her again. He doesn't go to her house intentionally. He happens to pass by, just walking, thinking, trying to clear his head. But seeing her car in the driveway stops him. He hesitates, unsure if approaching her doorstep is a mistake or an opportunity. He takes a breath, walks up the steps, knocks softly. The door takes too long to open. She knew it was him. She was debating whether to answer. When she finally opens the door, She stands half-framed in the sunlight, wearing a fitted navy top and jeans, hair tied loosely, looking breathtaking in that mature, unintentional way only she carries. But her expression different. Guarded. Almost resigned. She leans one hand on the doorframe, not blocking him, but not welcoming him fully either. A posture that says, I care, but I can't let myself. He greets her gently. She smiles softly, the kind of smile used to comfort someone you're trying not to hurt. Everything okay? He asks. She exhales, her shoulders sinking just enough for him to see the exhaustion she's been hiding. I don't want to make this harder, she says quietly. Her voice wavers on the word harder. She steps outside, closing the door halfway behind her, as if keeping the boundary in place physically helps her keep it emotionally. You didn't do anything wrong, she begins. It's just, that night, it confused things. He wants to tell her it didn't confuse anything for him. It made everything clearer. But he stays quiet, letting her speak. Her hands fidget again, tugging at her sleeve, touching her necklace, twisting lightly together. These are signs he learned long ago. Signs she's overwhelmed. I can't let myself depend on someone younger, she says finally. And I definitely can't let you start depending on me. The sentence stings, but he understands what she means. She's afraid of hurting him. Afraid of disappointing him. Afraid of losing him. Afraid of wanting him. You matter to me, she adds softly. But that's exactly why I can't keep crossing lines. Her eyes glisten, not dramatically, but with that restrained emotion that cuts deeper than tears ever could. He steps a little closer. She steps a little back. Not out of rejection, out of fear of getting pulled in again. Please, she whispers, don't make this harder for me. He realizes then that her walls aren't just up, they're reinforced, rebuilt, fortified with every ounce of fear she carries. She isn't pushing him away because she doesn't care. She's pushing him away because she cares too much. And caring feels dangerous. He walks home slowly after that doorstep conversation, feeling like every step pulls something heavier inside him. It isn't dramatic heartbreak. It's quieter, unspoken. The kind of heartbreak that comes from losing someone who was never fully his to begin with. A few days pass. No messages. No calls. No visits. He tries to stay busy, work, errands, anything to quiet the echo she left behind. But every time he passes her street, every time he sees the faint glow of her living room lamp from the corner of his eye, he feels that ache again. The ache of what could have been. The ache of what she's refusing to let herself feel. One evening, just before sunset, he walks past her house by accident. Or maybe intentionally. Maybe hope is still pushing him forward even when he's trying to give up. Her window is open slightly. Her silhouette is visible. She's sitting alone on the couch, elbows on her knees, head in her hands. She looks devastated. Not angry. Not distant. Not relieved. Devastated. It hits him then. She didn't push him away because she wanted to. She pushed him away because wanting him hurts her even more. He stands on the sidewalk, frozen, watching the soft golden light cast over her figure. She lifts her head, wipes her eyes subtly with her fingertips, then sits back, staring at nothing. He almost walks up. Almost knocks. Almost tells her he's still here, still willing, still holding the memory of that night with the gentleness it deserves. But he stops. Because he finally understands, this isn't a moment for him to fix. This is a moment for her to face alone. She has to choose him freely. Without fear. Without guilt. Without feeling like she's breaking her own rules to let him close. And right now, she can't. He takes one last look. She doesn't see him. She's lost in her own war. He whispers goodbye, not to her, but to the version of them he imagined. Then he turns away. No dramatic music. No final words. Just the quiet, painful truth that sometimes one night isn't the beginning of something beautiful. Sometimes one night is the moment you realize you've already lost the person you hoped to love. And he walks away knowing that loving her was never the mistake. Believing she could love him back was.